In this current Suns rotation, Drew Eubanks has a really big chance to make a big contribution to the Suns team, potentially even taking the starting spot away from Jusuf Nurkic come playoff time if Drew Eubanks continues to show the skills that he showed in the preseason, especially with Jusuf Nurkic's inconsistent streak of health. I know Drew Eubanks will be starting quite a few games this season for the Suns guaranteed, and he could potentially even take away that starting spot come playoff time due to some really nice defensive ability, actually one of the top rim protecting defensive bigs in the league, combined with some really sneakily good offensive talent. Drew Eubanks, despite being a little bit undersized at 6'9", could end up being a key piece in the Suns playoff rotation, maybe even as a starter. So let's take a look at what Drew Eubanks did during the preseason to make me think about this. We're going to first take a look at his defense and then his offense, and then a little bit of a look at his hustle. But yeah, before we get into it, I need to shout out to y'all for subscribing. I've gotten over 150 subscribers, more than that, in the last 48 hours. So thank you for blowing up the subscribe button. And if you're enjoying the edited content, maybe scroll down and hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, maybe scroll down and hit subscribe. I'll be dropping more edited content just like this, taking a look at the film. So yeah, make sure to hit that button to stick around. But anyways, let's get into it. Taking a look at some of Drew Eubanks' shot blocking highlights during the preseason, taking a look at what Drew Eubanks does to be such an effective defensive force on the interior. Taking a look at this play with Christian Wood, Austin Reeves is going to come up and run a pick and roll with Christian Wood. Christian Wood rolls, tries to get it up high, and Drew Eubanks gets to the high points and does not let that pretty much a weak weak dunk attempt. Just don't let that happen. We'll take a look at a highlight of that one. I mean, Christian Wood just, man, that's just a poor attempt. And Drew Eubanks rejects it, completely denies this really weak dunk attempt. And that's the type of rim protecting impact we expect to see from Drew Eubanks. Theirs is one of the most explosive players in the NBA in Asar Thompson. He's going to be in a dunk contest or two, and Drew Eubanks gets the point and blocks that shot. I mean, there's just not much Asar could do. Tries to go right through him. Drew Eubanks says no, 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 and that is a great block by him. Now on the double drag, this was one of my favorite blocks. Actually, I think it was my favorite block from his preseason highlights. Just sticking in front of Reggie Jackson. The pass is cut off down here by Eric Gordon. There's nothing for Drew Eubanks to worry about. He just drops in there, and there's nowhere for Reggie Jackson to go. There's no pass open, and Drew Eubanks just rejects it into the crowd. Great shot blocked by Drew Eubanks. We're also going to take a look at some of his deflection highlights. He's got pretty quick hands, and he knocks that ball out sometimes. Here he comes to the level against Cade Cunningham to prevent the easy mid-range shot, then backs off, cuts off that Wiseman post, deflects it, gets it back into the corner to Alec Burks, who's going to take a tough contested shot because Yuta Watanabe doesn't have to worry about that post-up. And that's great defense by the Suns, created by the deflection. Another deflection right here. Getting a hand on the ball from Justin Holiday, almost was a steal right there, and puts Reggie Jackson in a tough situation, isolation against Josh Okogie, and that is a tough shot, and credit to the quick hands of Drew Eubanks getting in there. He also just plays good defense in the drop coverage. We haven't really seen him run anything else for the Suns quite yet, but dropping against LeBron James, sitting in front, letting Nasir Little get back into the play, and cutting off any paint attempts from LeBron James. Again, coming to the level against Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves forced into a tough step back shot against Jordan Goodwin. Now another one, a LeBron James pick and roll. There's two screeners right there. I don't think that was intentional. Six in front of Christian Wood. That is a tough turnaround shot. Christian Wood was not on balance, and that is going to be a big miss from him. And Drew Eubanks staying in front, almost a block on Roy Hachimura, I believe is after the shot clock expired, but great job just reacting to the play, seeing that there's no one else to guard, just gets in the way, and yeah, prevents that shot from going up before the clock goes off right there. And yeah, continuing on, Drew Eubanks sticking in front right here, and the Cam Reddish pick and roll ends up being a turnover by Cam Reddish due to the bad bounce pass, and Drew Eubanks' pressure right in front of him. Asar Thompson in the pick and roll. Drew Eubanks sits in front, closes out to Isaiah Stewart, doesn't let him take a good shot, and closes out on Cade Cunningham. This is honestly probably my favorite defensive highlight out of Drew Eubanks during the preseason, just completely shutting down this play completely on his own. I mean, the ball handler defenders are doing a good job, but yeah, that great closeout gets comes up on the screen, doesn't let Cade Cunningham get that mid-range shot. Maybe Cade Cunningham could have taken a little bit later, but we know Cade Cunningham prefers that elbow spot to taking a shot from out here. And Drew Eubanks just doing a good job being mindful and preventing that mid-range shot. Great defense by him. Then Jamal Murray, no easy layup right there. His team should have gotten the rebounds, but you know, good job at least at shutting down the Jamal Murray shot. That wasn't on him to get the second chance or prevent the second chance bucket. Here, a handoff to, I'm not honestly sure who that is. And yeah, good closeout right there. I believe maybe it's Matt Thomas. Maybe he's on the Nuggets. I'm not really sure. Anyways, Drew Eubanks dropping against Killian Hayes, and Eric Gordon ends up rejecting that shot from behind just because Drew Eubanks stood in front and forced Killian Hayes into the fadeaway. Also a great screen. That is one of the key aspects to Drew Eubanks' offensive game, is that screen setting. But first, before we look at his offensive side of things, let's take a look at those defensive rim protection numbers. These are from last season. He ends up grading as an A+ defender on a rim contest per 75 possessions and blocks per 75 possessions. He is, in this upper top 5 percentile of players at contesting shots at the rim, blocking shots at the rim, and saving points at the rim per 75, 1.07 points saved at the rim per 75. There's very few players ahead of him in that. Rim protection, he grades out as an A, a top 10 percentile defender, and yeah, or top 92 percentile, whatever. I think you guys get the point. But yeah, top 99 percentile rim points saved per 75. Percentage of rim shots contested, he is in 95 percentile. He ends up grading as an A via these stats. They're from B-Ball Index, who tracks all these numbers, all these specific, very specific values that they have. There's some more, explanations, and if you guys are wondering a little bit more in depth on what these mean, I think they're somewhat self-explanatory, but if you're wondering, you can ask me in the comments section. I should probably be able to tell you. But yeah, I think you guys get the point. He is a very good defender right here. The only thing he isn't grading in well at is rim deterrence, which basically just means people aren't really scared to shoot over him. But based on everything else, they should be very scared to be taking shots in the paint. But teams are still, more than average against any other player, above average taking shots in the paint. They're not worried about him. Yet he is just grading all over the top in terms of these rim protection numbers. Anyways, let's continue taking a look at his offensive game, and that screen setting is so good. If you're trying to go over the top on those screens, it is tough to get through a Drew Eubanks screen right there because Jaden Ivey gets absorbed into the screen. Now Killian Hayes gets stuck in the paint, because, what else is Killian Hayes supposed to do? Jaden Ivey's completely out of it. He's got to cut off the roll man in Drew Eubanks. Actually, Drew Eubanks does not roll. And Killian Hayes is just a step over because Devin Booker's just too much of a threat with James Wiseman completely flat-footed right here. There's just nothing James Wiseman can really do. So Killian Hayes has to step in, and now it's just an easy pass to the corner to Yuna Watanabe, who's going to knock it down. The Suns haven't previously had shooters like that. And if you want to hear me talk more a little bit about the spacing of the Phoenix Suns, you should check out my previous video before this one, talking about the Suns' new look offense and what they did to increase their spacing dramatically. Here's another one by Drew Eubanks. It's going to be a really tough screen that Jaden Ivey just doesn't really get through, and ends up being an easy floater for Eric Gordon now that Jaden Ivey is out of his way. And another big screen. Actually, no, this time he slips the screen. And now that he slips the screen, DeAndre Jordan is trapped in the middle of nowhere because, this was the Nuggets' defensive coverage against Book and KD during the playoffs. They brought two defenders high, and if you slip that screen, go hard to the basket, and these guys are not ready to cut it off, it's a wide open pass to Mr. Drew Eubanks, and yeah, you can either take that shot inside when he ends up drawing a foul, or you can kick it outside to Mr. Josh Okogie, because he was also wide open after Justin Holiday crashed inside. Now, another big screen from Drew Eubanks gets the defender out of the way, and that ends up being a poster dunk over Roy Hachimura. Great dunk by Drew Eubanks. And yeah, I think we're going to see a highlight of this one because there's a big reaction from the Suns bench on that one. Dang, that was a massive dunk. He's going to be trying some really crazy dunks during the season, and it is going to be an exciting factor to see of this Suns offense. A guy who rolls just so hard to the basket. He got to the basket so quick on that. And yeah, I mean, D-Book is hyped up about it. The whole Suns bench is hyped up about it. Let's just take another look at just how quickly Drew Eubanks got to the basket. Almost slips that screen, kind of gets his defender out of the way. Just takes like 2 or 3 steps immediately into the lane and just postering Roy Hachimura. Great time from Drew Eubanks. And let's get back into it with the next offensive highlight from Drew Eubanks. Now operating in the post. Ooh, gets to that hook shot. Great shot inside by Drew Eubanks, taking advantage of James Wiseman not being a great defender, not in great defensive position, at least. Drew Eubanks again on the screen, rolling to the basket's got good positioning, gets it inside, and he ends up drawing a foul. I mean, Drew Eubanks drew a whole lot of fouls, and we'll see his numbers at the end of the video in terms of his preseason games, in terms of his free throws, and yeah, I mean, he just kept getting into the lane, kept getting fouled, and yeah, he took a whole lot of free throws during this preseason. Another one, a little push shot, hook shot type thing. Christian Wood is completely flat-footed, and he's just going to take the easy one off this nice pass inside by Jordan Goodwin. And yeah, just using his shoulder, fading back, and hitting the easy shot. If it's there, you got to take it. And yeah, it's just another offensive weapon for the Suns to go to if Drew Eubanks is going to be hitting those types of little push shots. I think we're going to see another push shot out of him right here on the screen with Jordan Goodwin, Max Christie trying to get through it. Good screen right there. And just an easy push shot after Jackson Hayes got sucked into the lane right there. I mean, that's all the space that Drew Eubanks needs. As much as he's not the biggest center in the world, like Jackson Hayes takes a step inside and it's already just not enough. You know, he's not there quick enough to stop the easy look from Drew Eubanks in that push shot. And yeah, I think we might be getting into some Drew Eubanks passing highlights. Let's just see. Maybe there's another push shot out of him. Oh, there is. Look at that. Nice push shot right there. And just there's no one there to stop him. I mean, the defender drops into the paint. I think this is Matt Thomas. He's just completely late. And yeah, DeAndre Jordan's completely not there. It's way too easy for Mr. Drew Eubanks. Being able to hit that type of shot is a great offensive weapon for the team. And now there's a great passing highlight in the short roll that we talked so much about. DeAndre was really not great at this, but Drew Eubanks really just looking at the floor, looking what's going on. He sees that he's got 2 defenders on him. There's got to be some people open, and considering KD is double teamed right here, he's got both Booker open and Grayson Allen. Looks to see what pass is open. The pass to the corner isn't open, so he goes up to Book up top, and Book knocks it down. Way too easy for Mr. Devin Booker. Now, Drew Eubanks operating on the top, the give and go, easy look inside to Josh Okogie with his defender completely flat-footed. If defenders are going to be flat-footed, the Suns are going to take advantage of them. That's just really clear to me. I mean, just a great pass. Roy Hachimura's just not ready for it, completely flat-footed. And it's a nice dunk inside. Josh Okogie assisted by Drew Eubanks. Drew Eubanks actually had a 6-assist game in this game against the Lakers, really showing off his passing chops, alongside a really well-balanced offensive game and great defensive force in the interior. I mean, just all these factors together makes you think that Drew Eubanks is going to be one of the premier backup centers in the league, if not the starting center for the team, if Yusuf Nurkic is going to continue to struggle so much on the defensive end like he did against this Lakers preseason team that wasn't even like fully healthy. That guy just struggled a whole lot, and there's a good chance that Drew Eubanks, if he continues playing defense the way that he does, could very well be the starter, because on top of everything, he's got this offensive game. Let's continue to see some more passing highlights out of him. Right here, setting a screen, getting it back, and yeah, sees the cutter, bates-diop. Roy Hachimura again is just completely flat-footed, and Bates takes advantage, and a great bounce pass inside by Drew Eubanks again. And I think we're going to see one more bounce pass right here to Yuta Watanabe in the post. You got to cut when someone is in post. Great cut by Yuta, and I'm not exactly sure who's guarding him right there, but Just a great cut by Yuta Watanabe. He's such a threat out there from 3, and he just makes a perfect cut inside, and Drew Eubanks makes the great pass into the interior. Perfectly thrown, and a great dunk from the high-flying Yuta Watanabe. And continuing on, we're going to see some assists that are not quite assists, Yuta unfortunately misses that. That was pretty quick. You might have almost missed that, but it is a quick handoff assist from Drew Eubanks, a double screen for Saban Lee, and Saban Lee knocks it down. Drew Eubanks assists that one. Just a quick little handoff play that the Suns love running, and could easily rack up assists for Mr. Drew Eubanks. That's how a guy like Domantas Sabonis ends up racking up a whole lot of assists during his career. It's just like these little handoff plays, just like the one he just did to Yuta Watanabe, just like the one he did to Saban Lee in the clip before it. Quick little handoff, guy goes downhill or gets a little bit of space and makes the shot. Especially helps if you're setting great screens the way that the way that Drew Eubanks does. And continuing on, maybe there's some sort of commentary there. I don't know why I let that run so long. Anyways, Drew Eubanks setting another screen, another little handoff type thing, and EG going downhill. That was very much not an assist, but it was tracked as an assist in the stat sheet. But on top of everything else, one thing I was really impressed by is that Drew Eubanks is just such a force as a hustle man. I mean, he just gets so many O boards and so many tap outs, draws fouls, just because he is continually providing effort. And the interior right here, we see EG misses the triple, and Drew Eubanks is on top of it, getting in there, getting the O board, rising up, and drawing the foul on LeBron James. Another one, Saban Lee gets the block, and Drew Eubanks fighting for the ball, getting to the ground, first to the ground, and he's, helping getting it out by making the pass off the floor, and that's not a great shot for Keita Bates, but whatever. Saban Lee going into the interior. Drew Eubanks again fighting for the board, going right through James Wiseman and drawing a foul again. This man drew so many fouls because he just does this. He just fights every single possession, and is such a refreshing thing to see for whoever might have been the previous centers on the Suns team. Now moving on to Drew Eubanks. I mean, this is just such a great sign to see, to just see this type of consistent effort as a guy who's going to be playing, 25 minutes per game. I mean, yeah, you love to see it. This great type of offensive rebounding effort and drawn fouls just purely based off of effort. Here's going to be a back tap. He's got 3 guys all in front of him trying to get that ball. Back taps it to Saban Lee, the quick, speedy man, and ends up being a turnover, but the back tap created the extra possession. Actually was not a turnover. Ends up being a Yuta Watanabe pretty wide open 3 at the top of the key. That's one of Yuta Watanabe's hot zones. So yeah, great job right there. Credit to Drew Eubanks for making the hustle play, of course. And continuing on, I believe this is the last highlight. Drew Eubanks fighting for the offensive rebound, and Matt Thomas, or whoever number 4 is, ends up fouling him because Drew Eubanks is just too much of a threat. He would have gotten the score right there if he didn't foul. And just taking a look at some of his career numbers, and hopefully this thing at the bottom disappears because it's a little bit annoyingly placed. I did not think about that. But last season he averaged 6.6 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in 20.3 minutes per night. He started 28 games out of the 78 he played. The season prior, he started all 22 games he played in 29.5 minutes per game. He ended up averaging 14.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. Those are some pretty great numbers, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he puts up with the Suns, maybe as a bench player, maybe as a starter. His role is going to be changing throughout the season, so hopefully he stays healthy so we get to see a whole lot of him playing. And yeah, looking at his preseason numbers, he had 7 points, 6.6 points, and 7 points, averaged 6.5 points per game, and ended up averaging just over 8 rebounds, and had assists in every single game of the preseason. Ended up averaging just under 4 assists per game during the preseason. Had a block in each game and averaged a block per game in this, or a steal per game. I mean, this guy was all over it. Just great at getting his hands on the ball, whether it's blocking shots, whether it's stealing the ball. Just like Jordan Goodwin, another really annoying defensive player for opposing teams to deal with. And yeah, from free throw, had a bunch of free throws each game. Ended up attempting, I mean, that is, 19 free throws in total, almost 5 per game. He's not the most consistent shooter on those free throws, 5 of 9, 4 of 6, 2 of 2, and 1 for 2. But I mean, just that type of ability to draw fouls every single game. And yeah, I mean, he's doing it in just around 18 minutes per game. Like, this was just great effort from Drew Eubanks across the board, putting up offensive numbers, putting up defensive numbers. And yeah, I mean, the tape reflects it and looks really good. So I've got high hopes for Drew Eubanks competing for potentially a starting role with the Suns. We'll see how it goes with Jusuf Nurkic, and we have no idea how the season's really going to play out in terms of injuries, in terms of how players are actually going to perform during the regular season. But Drew Eubanks has a big window to make a big impact on the Suns, so I'm excited to see it happen. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed already, maybe scroll down and hit the button. If you haven't liked already, please. I mean, if you made it to the end of the video, why don't you go do it? That would be pretty cool of you. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.